Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the MLG Winter Championship. Things getting awfully close here toward the very end of the tournament. Robin, we've got a great matchup for them. Tell them who we got coming up here.
Oh, man, we sure are close, man. This is the losers finals. We just watched an amazing match between Hart and Huk. What you guys did, you and Froden in the cast, was actually brilliant on your part, by the way. And he has now made himself in the losers final, secured his spot here, and he will be going against DRG. DRG's been having a fantastic weekend, only losing to Marine King Prime. And falling down into the losers final. So now whoever wins this match will be taking on Marine King Prime in the finals of the MLG tournament, but we have to get to this series first, and boy is it going to be an awesome TVZ.
Absolutely, Robin. I'm pumped. I know you're pumped. DRG actually probably taking over, I think, unarguably as the world's best Zerg at the moment. I mean, just unbelievable play out of him. The game counter has begun. Countdown underway. Map Entombed Valley. Loading screen going on, and you know what? Hearts can be very, very happy with game number 1 here, being on Entombed Valley. Everyone, I've been saying it all weekend, everyone down the line's been saying it all weekend, this map is so Terran favored. Their players just don't really like it at all because they can't get to third. It really forces them to go into position here where they have to do some kind of 2-base play, where they have some kind of tech coming off of the 2 bases. They go for the third too early. They're kind of separated because of these rocks over here, and if I can go the right way, to the bottom left corner. So look for that when we get to the early game, into the mid game, and how DRG transitions if he doesn't do a Roach Baneling Ling all in. Here he is in the bottom right corner, Mr. DRG, our red Zerg player. And who do we have in the very far top left? Tumba. In the top left, we've got a little player known as Hart.
That's right, man.
We were talking about what a great pickup this was, obviously, for Complexity. They couldn't be more happy with the way he's performed here at this event thus far.
Yeah, definitely cheering for him. They have to be. Like, he's done so well, so well. And actually, it's formerly DRG's teammate at the time before they used to be, but now of course he's on an MVP. Oh, it looks like he might be having a little bit of lag here. Gonna go ahead and bring up the screen really quick. We will actually have a game pause here for a second as I actually adjust my headset for a second. He may have had something going on with the keyboard, measurement or mouse, something. Usually you have players hit pause, but if it's something to do with their hardware, then they just automatically hit that pause button and go straight to it, and the rest will let them go away with it for fine. But we'll wait here for a couple of seconds and wait for DRG and figure out what exactly is happening with them. But again, got a lot of opportunities for our players here, and I'm curious to see what exactly we're going to be having from Hart. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Hart proving that he can, as we said, run the veritable gamut of builds versus any race. So I'm going to be excited to see what he rolls out with too. And you know what? DRG, quite the formidable opponent. Yeah. So, I mean, he's just beaten Huk, and that's great, right? That's a really good confidence booster, meeting him in the extended series. However, let's not forget, Hart had to battle his way all the way through open bracket. He did well. Going undefeated in group. Unbelievable play out of this guy. I mean, this is really a freight train right now that nobody has been able to figure out how to stop. Yeah, really. I mean, we saw some flashes of brilliance there from Huk, some great engagements, and a lot of that, as I was watching actually on the other screens, it seemed to be just Hart missing out on a couple of key scouts whenever he was playing against Huk. So look for him to be a little more active in scouting, especially against DRG. This is something you do not want to let DRG be sneaky on you. He will punish you, no problem whatsoever. So again, looks like we don't have any information quite yet on what exactly is going on between the two players, but I hear a lot of cheering going on out there, so something funny must be going on. Yeah, taking a bit of time, I think, to get the crowd pumped, amped up, maybe. And have you seen the crowd? Have you been out there yet? Yeah, the crowd is insane. Gosh. Actually, you know, everybody loves to comment on the chairs. Yeah, and they've actually arced the chairs at this point. Yeah, all the way through and around, and it is really so exciting to see that crowd out there. I mean, esports in general should just be proud that an event like this gets put on, and it's of course international crowd, international players. Man, MLG Championship Sunday, it just doesn't get any better than this. I know, it's crazy to think. I saw all the pictures. I was like, wow, they really did up the game with all the chairs everywhere. But I still go out there, and people are still standing. They keep coming. You build it, and they will come in. MLG has been proving it. Even with the Street Fighters, the whole entire fighting stage is being done, people moving over, and it's becoming centralized throughout the whole entire venue. You still have people standing and not being able to fight a seat. It's so awesome, and it really warms my heart to see that. Oh, me too. It looks like our players are ready to go. We have ready from DRG, ready from Hart, waiting for it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and looks like we are back into the game. Here we are. So again, we're in the early stages, so we still haven't had anything too crazy happen between these two players, but momentarily within the next 3 to 4 supply, we should be getting an idea of what they're going for. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to get
the opening builds here. Start to get those figured out. That will be indicative, of course, how they choose to open.
Ooh, okay.
So we talked a lot about DRG during our casts in Arena.
Yeah.
And again, a player a lot like Violet in terms of once the aggression starts, it doesn't really stop.
He's just such a great all-around Zerg player. I mean, you could say he's like a Violet in terms of aggressiveness. You could say he could play a macro game like a Red. He could do it all, and that's why he's considered the best. I really feel it.
But he's distinguished himself away from a Nestea. You don't hear him, you don't always compare him to that. He's his own person. DRG really has made his mark early 2011 and just continued to improve throughout last season, culminating in recent success.
Yeah.
In other tournaments as well.
Yeah, definitely. And it looks like we're going to go ahead and have DRG did throw down the 15 hatcher, and I believe he actually threw down a 17 pull. A little bit greedy, but he actually just delaying gas so he can get away with it, and he should be fine to go, especially with us being able to see what exactly Hart has gone for. He has a Rax into a gas here. So the question is, what exactly is he going to follow up with? It looks like it's going to be a factory, so Reactor Hellion is the most likely play here. This is the few builds that we've been talking about all week, and the Reactor Hellion, of course, had a few 2 Raxes, but really not that too many, and actually seen a lot more Reaper Expands, but Reaper Expand wouldn't be too solid on this map just because there's not really that much locations for you to jump into. So going for the most optimal build here, which is going to be the Reactor Hellion.
Yeah, absolutely going to be able to get those Hellions out, pumping 2 at a time. And you know what? It's one of those things where DRG has seen this about 1,000,000 times. Yeah. So it's not like he won't be prepared for this. However, this is the way, the de facto standard opener for both players. So this tells us that we're going to segue into a mid-game, and really I believe this is going to come down to who's going to be the first player to make the glaring mistake.
I'm interested. DRG hasn't thrown any gas down quite yet. With Reactor Hellions coming out, they're a little bit hard to engage with off creep. If you're going to engage them, you want to do it on creep, and you want to have come in for a flank. You can't really get a major surround on them because the Hellions will, of course, just juke you every single time. And we still don't have any gas. So I'm actually a little bit fearful here for DRG. These Hellions might actually be able to do a little bit of damage within his main and his natural. Behind this, we do have an expansion going down at the natural, and it looks like we're going to have a Starport follow-up as well here for Hart. Very cool.
Double Queen being produced almost finished there. Hellions on the field, and this is where that play comes in, that play style, that defensive play style that Zerg has gotten so good at. And you can see him, look, already getting ready to position, spreading out that creep, getting queens ready to deal with any impending aggression that he knows will be on the way.
Yeah, he's definitely going for a very defensive statue here, going for that 4-queen build. He may actually even follow with a couple more, but 4 is definitely the standard here. You want to have the ability to go on, block this ramp. Look at that. There is no way that Hart would want to dive in here. If he does, he can become trapped. He has a spine crawler here as well. And then if he loses his Hellions, he loses map control. So such a beautiful play here from DRG. And of course, showing the 3 queens too. Look, I have 3 queens here. I don't mind engaging you, and that makes Hart stay back.
Yeah, those queens look nasty.
They are.
Look at that. I love it. Coming back for the larva inject. Doesn't want to wait. We were also talking about the way Zerg works. Of course, a lot of things to consider, a lot of things to manage in your base. Larva, a very valuable resource.
Very, very, very valuable. And he's actually deciding to go ahead and get some more here. We have another hatchery being thrown down. The macro hatches will be pinning pretty soon. Also grab a 3rd and a 4th gas. So I'm expecting double evolution chambers pretty soon from him. It looks like he wants to stay with Lings for a while here and get some very, very upgraded Lings. Most likely go towards Infestors, which is actually more preferable on this map.
Yeah, and that would be the big question is, when you see all the gases go down, where will he spend that gas? Many players preferring to go Muta. Also, though, as you said, Infestors will do very nicely on this map in particular.
Yeah, so looking at the unit,
so it looks like
have 1 Banshee.
He has been able to zone out all of those Hellions thus far. Stim just underway now. Speed about 1/4 of the way finished. Banshee on the way.
Well, I'm looking around. Lair is started about 1/4 of the way done, and we actually have an evolution chamber about to finish up. So if DRG does respond accordingly, he should be okay against holding against this Banshee. That's another positive thing about having these queens, is they're pretty solid against Banshee play. The thing is, there is no cloak, and also we got to remember that there are 4 Hellions outside. So if he overextends to defend against this Banshee, these Hellions could sneak in and do some damage. So watch for Hart to really try and force DRG's hand here in multitasking and see if he can possibly make him make a mistake.
Well, he's going to have to. He really is, because so far he hasn't been able to slow DRG down one bit. DRG pre-prepared for everything thus far. And look at this, 2 queens just going to zone out perfectly that Banshee. So Linus Breinkaller's here up the front, going to break down those destructible rocks. And I have to feel like thus far DRG just seems to be in a class of his own. I mean, we haven't seen any major engagements. It's just sort of the sense I'm getting from the game. His play style thus far seems very cool, calm, and collected, ready for anything, if you will, Robin.
Yeah, you're completely correct here. He's delayed his third for a while here, but he's very nice in terms of tech on his way. He's got Spire on the way, Bailing Nets just finished up. He's well defended at the front. He's got Spine cards, he's got Queens everywhere. He's elected to have defense on this map rather than trying to get a fast third and try to defend on that front, which I love. And he actually will come in the middle of the map and get a full surround of 4 Hellions. That is really freaking huge. Oh my gosh, and he's still going for a counterattack as well.
Absolutely, his Lings are going to go ahead and circumnavigate around the map here. He is going to tag up, make sure he has control. And look at this.
2 free
Great
SCVs.
Scouting by that one Ling. They're going to force a liftoff as he can sense impending Ling aggression. So great game sense by Hart.
Yep, coming in here with his Lings will clean up these SCVs and will force the orbital to pull on back, which again is that third delayed for a little bit, and is also missing a little bit of production time with the SCVs. Little itty things that helps him while he's trying to establish his own third here down in the bottom left corner. I love the route that DRG went this route. Instead of going for a Roach Ling bailing all in that's become very, very popular, he opted to have very defensive play and make sure he was set up against anything that could come from Hart. And from here, he can now really just take control of the map. He's killed off the Hellions, and he can expand multiple times if he would like to. Now we have 7 mutas on the way. Let's look over to Hart, though. I feel like we'd be getting a little bit too much love to DRG. Looking over to Hart, he's got double engineering bay, which is actually quite nice in all matchups, of course. And then also looking to the main, he's got Medivacs constantly on production here, switching into an armory. He has a number of racks here as well.
And he's already building missile turrets as well in anticipation of those mutas. He knows it's around the 11-minute, 30-second mark. He wants to have those completed, so he will be able to zone out those mutas and going to actually start to move across the map here. I feel like Hart senses that he needs to make something happen, and you know what? He does.
Yep. Looking into the Harvester, 70-55 now. DRG is hitting where he wants to be, and ooh, actually he snipes. I believe there was a Hellion in there, actually. We missed it, but still getting a unit in the middle of the map, clearing out the Zelnaga, always important. But Hart is now aware of the mutas, and he is actually forced to retreat while we have DRG getting a 4th at the same time. So very well done there. And he catches a Viking that was trying to kill off Overlords, but the Marines do come in, and they will get 1 muta as you see the pieces splintering all over the ground there. But now DRG is going to go ahead and just shark around the 2nd and 3rd and try and prevent any type of movement coming out from Hart, and if he does, make sure he's prepared for it.
So I believe he's up to 4 bases. Does he have a macro hatch as well?
Yeah, he's got one in here in his main.
Yes, he does. So,
yeah.
wow, DRG is about as perfectly set as possible at this point. Look at his creep spread, Robin. A beeline straight for the base. Oh, there may be a drop actually in the back, I think. And there it is, actually, as I'm watching actually the mini map, and you were already on point, Robin, with the camera, and this is going to force a cancel for sure off of this hatch.
And actually, I was watching the mini map as well. The mutas went to try and go for an attack, but it looks like there was a patch of Marines there to deflect that away. So he actually gets a cancel there. It's really good for Hart. And you were right, he had to do something, and that was one step towards really getting the spot in position here to make sure that his 3 bases is up to 3 bases of DRG, which is where he wants to be. Now, moving forward, let's check into the upgrades really, really quick before we have an engagement. 1-1 here for DRG in terms of Lings. And they also have 1-1 here for Hart on his Marines. Got 2-2 on the way, but they won't be in here in type of any engagement if it does happen. And we actually have
21 Banelings actually being morphed in. One of the most exciting units in StarCraft 2.
Yeah, gotta agree with you. And it looks like the Lings and Mias are gonna go ahead and go for the flank, but Hart is actually setting up a trap here. Marines are already on their way. Go ahead, sacrifice your Lings and get your mutas out. DRG is gonna go ahead and pick off a couple of units if he can. Missile turret will force the units to pull on back. At the same time, we have the Banelings and the Marines, or the Lings, moving on forward here. He wants to maybe get an engagement in the middle of the map. He feels that Hart wants to push out, and he certainly does. Look at him now getting ready to push forward.
Phenomenal game sense out of both players, actually. As you can see, a drop is loaded up now for Hart, and that is going to make its way out down the west to southwest portion of the map. As you can see, troop movement now moving out of the base and toward the mutas. And here we go. We're going to see an engagement here in just a few, I feel, as TRG's waiting for the right time to strike.
Yeah, looks like the Marines are trying to cut off these mutas, and it looks like they may get one pulling up his health bars. He does get one down the red as well, but remember, this drop is on its way. He's okay with kind of dancing back and forth because he wants to get to the point where he can cancel this fourth once again. It's almost complete, and here comes the drop. Is it going to be heading in? It actually looks like it's going straight for the main. There we go. Now dropping in the bottom left corner, and DRG is going to be a little frustrated with this.
Absolutely, and you know, look how patient DRG is being, though, but he keeps encroaching toward the Terran base. Going to send a bunch of units up, but this drop going to come down here and try to go ahead and take out that hatchery. As you can see, electing to retreat home, and he is playing it so patiently. So hatchery survives with about half hit points. He can expect that medevac to return sometime in the near future, though, Robin.
Yeah, to start really preemptive for this, he has a lot of overlords available. Oh my gosh,
MG.
A lot of Balians. He wants to crush this army. He wants to follow with a counterattack because he hasn't been able to establish a fourth. He really wants to kill off this massive amount of units that Terran has and try and do some economic damage because he's been on 3 bases for a while now. Bailings now have finished up. 2-2's on the way, but it won't be here in time. There is 2-2 Marines. Here we go. It's going in, Tumba.
Yep, big stem going down. Medevac's turning around, and here we go. Bailing's going off, trying his best to do as good as he can with those Marine splits.
He kills the Bailings.
Man, great job there by Hart.
There's a lot of Marines left over, and there's only Muta versus Marine right now, but he effectively killed off all the siege tanks, which should actually have Hart kind of pull back at the moment, because at the moment, more Balians are being created. 46 more Lings are on their way, but he wants to go for the fourth. He thinks that DRG is kind of low in terms of resources. He's been doing pretty well, actually, because he's been retaining a lot of his units. Bailings now moving forward at the moment. One siege tank is left, but he does get a nice volley off on a couple of those Marines. Lings look like they can finish off the job, and the Mutas do kill off the medevacs, which is super important, and the Balians get the last couple of hits, but at the same time, Marines do catch a
Muta cloud, so going to take a few of those Mutas out, Robin. Those Marine splits, again, that initial engagement, so very good for Hart. He could have very well lost his entire army there. Thor has arrived as well.
Nice job, and now Ling's moving in forward. They're going to buffer that damage. Mutas actually get hit by a huge volley there by the Thors, pulling up the health bars. The Balians are trying to chase the Marines, but too much splitting from Hart. He will be forced to retreat. He does catch one Thor, which is going to be helpful, but at the moment, DRG is pulling on back. Wants to get his fourth up again, because remember, Hart has been doing a great job of really just denying this third. It's been 3 times, or fourth. He's been 3 times he's denied it.
Well, we said Hart had to make something happen. Moments later, he did. He elected to start dropping that fourth, making that the point where he's going to make his stand. And then sending the army down there as follow-up was a phenomenal decision, Robin, because he knew that hatchery was already down to half health.
Well, DRG double expanding. He knows he needs to get a hatchery up sometime soon. He's got a main almost mined out, a natural almost mined out as well. He's going to put it on a scan right here and see how low exactly DRG is mined out. Is he going to keep prodding around this fourth, though? And it looks like he's deciding not to. He just wants to group up a nice army, get ready for another drop, and see if he can, again, force DRG to kind of pay attention.
Well, hold that thought as we see an engagement at the Zelnaga. So Hart saw this one coming the whole way as he owns that tower. A little bit of the creep starting to
proceed here,
recess a little bit back, and you can see infestors need to be very careful with those, as man, these players dancing around the ring right now. Both these fighters are about to engage. Somebody's going to try to deal a knockout blow here.
I really like that DRG has thrown infestors into the mix finally, so we can land some fungals on the Marines that are constantly splitting. At the same time, it looks like a drop is coming down to the second, but a nice
big
fungal
fungal
goes down, and that's what happens when you land a fungal. The Bailings will destroy the Marines that are on the ground. A Ling run by does have to go straight to the planetary fortress. There is too many Lings. It looks like the SCVs can't repair, but the planetary fortress way too strong. A drop in the bottom left. At the same time, it looks like we're going to be having Hart moving forward, clearing more creep at the same time, and DRG is going to deal with these Marines, but at the same time, now he has an army in the middle of his natural and his third.
Look at this. So Hart trying to gain that momentum and capture that initiative and stay with it. Thor's in the middle of the creep right now. Ultralisks on the field. Here come the Bailings, the infestors. Fungal growth's going down, and oh my gosh, going to lose all of those units currently, but he still has a couple of Thors in the middle of the map and 4 medevacs as well, Robin.
Well, he's got a lot of Lings on their way. They're going to get the surround on the Thors. He's got to commit to that second Thor. Let it go down. It sure does. But the thing is, more Marines have joined. 2 more siege tanks as well. There is 16 more Lings, 22 now on the way, but Sparring Codes are going to go ahead and delay these Marines just for a tad bit. An Ultralist trying to get the Thor will get picked up at last second. Nice control from Hart here, and he's still moving forward. This fourth is certainly in trouble now.
I'll tell you what, you have to respect this guy. He's getting it done where he has to. It may not be pretty, but he doesn't care. All he wants is the win. That Ultralist going to re-engage on those siege tanks now, moving down, and those Marines very GG out of DRG.
Tumba.
Unbelievable.
Hart is so freaking good. His whole entire strategy around that whole entire game was to take at that fourth, never let it be established. We saw it time and time and time again. He was constantly gutting for that fourth, and you saw over time, we just saw DRJ slowly running out of units. His main ran out. His natural was almost out as well, and he couldn't keep up with larva production as well when he got to the higher tech units. It was such a beautiful play, man.
It's DRG, Robin. It's DRG.
What did I say?
No.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say
it's DRG. Like when the match started,
DRG. Yeah.
I'm still a little bit in shock.
Yeah.
At how that went, because when it started initially, I had said, "Oh man, you know, DRG is so set up perfectly. He's looking so comfortable. He's in a class all of his own." Hart, continuing on with this amazing tournament, is able to take the first game. Robin, I can't believe it.
I can't either.
He
but
made
you know
it
what?
work. He made it happen.
I'm excited for game number 2, man.
Can't wait.
Let's get a commercial out of the way, and we'll go right into it, guys.